You're listening to the Crochet Conversations podcast. Welcome back everybody to another episode with us. I'm Ines.
And I'm Mel, welcome.
And today we're going to talk about something else almost as exciting as yarn. Do you know what it is? It's crochet tools.
Of course.
So I have compiled a long list of crochet tools that I think are available for you to get with your crochet work.
There's just so many.
Yeah, but we're going to break down which one you actually really need and which one you don't.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that this episode would be good to follow up the previous two episodes where we talk all about yarn. And then maybe we can talk about some tools, because I think as a new crocheter, or even as someone that's a little bit more advanced, it can be quite overwhelming when you go and look up just one or two tools that you think you need and then like 10 million pop up.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just so many things that I never imagined I'll see it ever. Like, I don't even know how to use it.
You know, sometimes Mel gets so baffled that she plays this game with me. So I will tell her, I'm looking for like new, like for example, let's say stitch markers. So she'll go on AliExpress, she'll look up a bunch, and then she'll like test me again.
I'll be like, okay, this is something that looks like this, and
she would actually cover up. She would cover up with her hands the name and say, okay, tell me what is this?
Yeah, what is it used for?
And it's not even crochet related, okay? It's just random tools. But
random funny looking things. There's so many things you can find online.
I guess it's because you're just confused, right? About all the different things there are. Things that you've never seen.
Yeah, I'm obviously a beginner, and there's just, all I know is crochet hook and yarn. That's all I know, honestly.
Yeah. I have my pen here with me, taking notes. I feel like I'm always taking notes. Okay, anyway, so I've compiled a list, and this is our personal list that we have compiled together about all the things that are available for you to buy. And then later on, we'll talk about how many you really need and which one is worth spending the dollars on.
Yeah, because if I need every single one on that list, I think it's pretty crazy.
You could own every single one of them, but I think that you'll find some of them very redundant.
You
over
don't,
time.
right? You don't actually own every single one of those?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank God.
There are some of them that I actually... Actually, do I? No. Yeah.
Okay,
there are a few that I don't own.
Let's go down the list first,
okay.
And then we'll know.
Okay, so I'm just going to very quickly run down the list, okay? And then we'll talk about that in a bit. So number 1 is yarn.
Yarn.
Number 2 is?
Crochet hook.
Yes, correct. That's quite self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Number 3 is embroidery scissors.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Specifically embroidery scissors. Number 4 is darning needles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which there are no substitute for. Number 5 is a tape measure or a ruler. Preferably a long ruler, like the 30 centimeters kind.
Mm-hmm. It's for like measuring your work, right?
It's for measuring your work or your subject.
Right, okay.
So say if I'm making you like a top, the tape measures to measure you, because not all crochet work is like flat.
Uh-huh.
It can be like 3D. Say if you're making like amigurumi stuff and you need to measure like the circumference of something, then like you probably can't use a ruler for that.
Yeah, obviously.
The next you can get hook organizers or any sort of tool organizers, just organizers in general.
Specifically just for hooks.
Or your tools.
Oh, okay. Like everything to go into one thing.
Yeah, which we will cover later.
Mm-hmm.
Where am I? Oh, number 7. Stitch markers.
Save my life all the time.
Yeah, and I have strong opinions about stitch markers, so
okay.
We'll come back to that. Number 8 are row counters.
Row counters.
They can be digital or manual. Do you know what those are?
I feel like I've seen them before when I'm shopping online, but I actually have some questions on those because I don't exactly know what's useful. I never used one before.
Yeah,
personally.
because I don't own one. So in our whole
so
studio...
obviously I won't go and get one, right?
Yeah, and you've obviously probably never seen one in use, like in action, right? Because I don't own one.
Yeah, but I know what it looks like though.
Do you? What do they look like?
Like this... okay. As the name suggests, it's a counter that has numbers on it. There you go.
Okay, but what shape and what size is it?
It's small and it's round,
Pass.
circular-ish.
See, I can test you too. Okay, so then after row counters, you will need a notebook and pen, which not everybody agrees with this, but I'm going to leave it inside anyway. Next, you need blocking mats and blocking pins. And I also have strong opinions about this one. Yeah, you probably have never seen it too because I don't own it too. Similar to the...
Okay, question mark on that.
Okay, that's question mark there. Yeah. Number 11 would be swatch gauge.
Okay.
Okay.
You have this, right?
Or like a gauge ruler, yeah.
Okay.
But they're not the same as regular rulers.
Right.
Okay. Number 12 would be a yarn winder.
Oh, yeah, I know what this is.
Yeah, because we have a few. And number 13 would be microfiber cloths.
Microfiber cloth?
I have never seen microfiber cloth on the list of any crochet artists out there.
Yeah.
I have never seen it on their blogs, on like their web pages or YouTube videos. Every time I see a list of like top crochet tools you need, I never see this.
Yeah.
Which I'm so confused about because I think it's so essential. Or maybe this is like something that I've hacked.
It's like a secret weapon.
Maybe this is like a crochet life hack that I've discovered.
I mean, I know what it is, but I cannot understand why. Yeah, how would you use it for?
Okay, coming up next. Okay, and the last one you could use are looms.
Looms.
Yeah, like crochet looms.
To make things?
Yeah, so for example, like there are I-cord makers,
right,
or there are physical looms that can actually weave things for you. So these are not specifically crochet related. They're sort of in the gray zone between crochet and knit.
Right.
So for that reason, I'll include it in anyway into this list. So these are things that you can get to sort of supplement or aid you in your crochet.
It's supposed to make your crochet life easier, right?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so these are all the tools that I have compiled that I think could, potentially come up on a list of all the crochet tools you will use.
Yeah, I also came up with a list, but I actually only have like 8 things on my list.
What's on your list? I'm curious.
Same, like
for
yarn,
someone who doesn't crochet.
Hooks, crochet hooks, scissors, darning needle, tape measurement, hook organizer, stitch marker, and row counter. That's it.
Oh wow, you have row counter on yours too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let's unpack this. Okay, which are the tools that you really need? And which are the tools that I feel are absolutely unnecessary and just a marketing gimmick?
Interesting.
Okay, so let's talk about the basic ones like yarn and hooks.
Okay.
So, since our last episode, it has occurred to me that you could potentially, and there are some like listeners who do say that they buy crochet hooks on AliExpress and like crochet hook sets or yarn on like Taobao and like AliExpress or Shopee or whatever. But I think that if you want to get your crochet set in order, buying a toolkit is like the worst thing you can do for yourself.
Like one whole set, like 2 balls plus like 5 crochet hooks. Is that what you mean?
It's more like a crochet tool set. So it's like it comes in like a little A5 folder. It's got like 3 crochet hooks, a crochet, swatch gauge ruler.
And like a couple of like stitch markers. Okay, and like maybe 1-2 darning needle.
Yeah, I think those are the worst things you can spend your money on.
Why not? If I'm a beginner, it's like everything in one, right?
Yeah, and I feel like that is sort of the misconception that you get as a new crocheter or somebody who wants to build their tools. It's better to buy individual things that would work for you rather than to buy a set, because a lot of these times this set give you the cheapest things.
Right.
Like for example, stitch markers that there's no elasticity in the plastic, so the moment you close it on your work for like a week, and then once you open it,
break?
It won't come apart already.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Or other things like sometimes these sets don't just come with crochet stuff, they come with like knitting tools.
Right, and I wouldn't really use that.
Yeah, like the double-ended short crochet knitting needles that are used for socks, like socks knitting.
Okay, yeah.
And you don't need that. Sometimes they come with stitch markers, but those are knitting stitch markers, which are absolutely not the same thing. Do you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Oh, look, your eyes just widened.
This is information to me.
So knitting stitch markers are absolutely round. They don't open at all. They're just like little infinity rings.
Oh, okay.
It's just like a ring. So they don't open up. There's no opening for
Plastic
you to slide
rings.
it through. Yeah, or metal or whatever.
Okay.
Because you slide them in your needle, and then when you come back to that on the next row, it just comes right out. It slides off the needle.
Right. I'm pretending to.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary for you to know. All you need to
saying.
know is the crochet type. So the crochet types are the ones that has an opening of some sort that you can slide your yarn in.
Yeah.
The opening is either like a safety pin, or it's just like a loop. It looks like a number 6 with the top closed down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can just slide your yarn in and slide them out.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
so
I use both of them like interchangeably, so.
yeah, and actually they're not supposed to be used interchangeably.
What? Nobody told me that.
Yeah, nobody told me that either. I had to figure it out myself. But yeah, and so some people, I used to tell my students that you could use like not safety pins. What's the word? Paper clips.
Ah, paper clips. Okay.
But I wish that I could go back in time and like take back my words, because now I absolutely am against using paperclip.
I mean, those are
For
pretty
stitch markers.
sharp, right? I cannot imagine how it won't be so easy to slot it in and take it out, I would think.
Not only is it sharp, I find that the end of the metal bit that's not filed down nicely is jagged, and so it splits the yarn easily.
Yeah.
And the inner loop is not easy to get your yarn out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So especially if you're working with acrylic or yarn that doesn't have like good fiber strength,
Yeah.
then you break your fiber easily.
Yeah. And why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have strong opinions about using paper clips. Unless unless.
No, just don't.
stick to
Yeah,
stitch
it's
markers,
not
yeah.
expensive to get like proper stitch markers, anyways.
Yeah, so that's how I feel on crochet toolkits. I think it's better to buy 1 or 2 items that are really, really good quality than to buy a whole set at a cheap price but have cheap materials used as well.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
And a lot of these crochet hooks are like plastic, or if they're metal, like the coating rubs off, and I personally have a few of those that the coating has rubbed off after like a week of use.
Oh, I've seen those crochet hooks where I think the ergonomic ones where the metal bit is actually loose.
Yeah.
From the handle, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
so like my best friend, she was given a set of crochet hooks and the metal bit came off.
Yeah, it's like as you're crocheting and then it suddenly turns.
It pops out, yeah. Oh, it turns,
Yeah.
it turns. So that's the downside with buying crochet toolkits.
Okay,
because they give you more things than you need, and then to try not to waste your money, you try and incorporate them into your work, and you end up making life a lot more difficult
For yourself, yeah.
than it needs to be.
Yeah.
So that's that. Let's talk about some of the few that you can substitute.
Okay.
Let's talk about substitutions. Okay. Yarn. We had a whole episode about this, or 2 whole episodes about this.
Really long episode, but
Where we talk about
very informative.
how you can substitute fiber. And when I say yarn, we're specifically referring to fiber yarn.
Yeah.
So yarn made of some fiber. So like, for example, t-shirt yarn, or like paper yarn, or like chenille yarn, for example, things like that. You can use those as substitutes. This whole yarn section, I mean, if I can have 2 whole episodes about it, it's long enough for you to, it's up to your creativity.
Yeah.
Crochet hooks, any substitutions for that?
I don't think so, right?
Your hand, maybe?
But it's not the same.
Okay,
right?
yeah, I suppose,
mean,
yeah. You could crochet with your hand. It just gives you a really loose fabric. Or if you're using really thick chunky yarn that you don't have like a size 15mm crochet hook. Actually, I've never seen a 15mm crochet hook. I've seen a 10mm crochet hook. But say, yeah, if you have something that requires like a 15mm, just use your hands.
Yeah.
It's your natural God-given tools.
Yeah, it's probably going to be so much easier than using an actual tool.
Yeah,
I think.
that's why. Actually,
Right?
I find that too. Okay, so other things you can substitute is embroidery scissors.
Yeah, I can use any sort of scissors, right?
Yes, but I say specifically embroidery scissors, and I'm a firm believer on this, and I like to buy specifically embroidery scissors for that because it's better quality, 1, and 2, it's small, easy to keep, and 3, it lasts a lot longer.
Embroidery scissors are all the really tiny ones, is
Yeah,
it?
the smaller
Okay.
ones. So those are used mostly for cutting thread or yarn. They're used a lot in sewing to cut out thread because they're so small and fine that you can really go close to your work and snip it off and have a really nice, clean, fine edge.
Okay, yeah, that makes
And
sense.
because they're so sharp, it cuts the yarn off really nicely. You know, like cutting hair. It just like shears it off.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I mean, fair enough. If it's something really sharp, it makes cutting so much easier as well.
And you don't fray the ends of yarn, which is why you want to use embroidery scissors only to cut fibers or to cut thread or yarn or whatever. You never ever want to use your embroidery scissors to like open an envelope up and then like cut your
My potato chip
packet, or like cut a cable tie and then use it to cut your yarn. So like scissors meant for yarn should only ever be used for yarn. And this is something I learned in art school because, you know, like art scissors, I had a 3M, which I still do, the red one. It's like $30 over, and it's lasted me for like 10 over years because I just use it to cut paper.
Paper, right? Yeah.
So that's but okay, with that said, you can use regular scissors. You just have to make sure they're brand new and you only use them ever for yarn.
Okay, so you keep it sharp enough.
But they could be like regular scissors, like $2 from Daiso.
Okay.
But they're only used to cut yarn. Darning needles, no substitution for that. That's just the way that it is. You can't use regular sewing needles because firstly the eyelet is too small to push your fat yarn through, especially if you're using like a size 6 or 7. If you don't know what size 6 or 7 is, check out episode 3. Okay, and they're too sharp at the end. So not only will you hurt yourself, you will hurt your crochet work because you
can't really weave through the stitches. Right?
You want to go under the fibers, not through them. Because otherwise you just split your yarn and like who wants that? It makes your finished product look so messy. What else?
Row counter?
Let's talk. Let's talk row counters. I don't use row counters. So for row counters, there are two kinds: the digital kind and the manual kind.
Okay.
So manual row counters. So basically, row counters are little circular things that you stick at the end of your knitting needle. They are mostly used for knitting actually, although I know some people who use them for crochet.
Is that why we don't have it?
Yeah, because I don't feel like it's necessary. And I mean, I am another example altogether. I'm old-fashioned in the sense that my row counter is a rough paper and pen. I actually will write down row 1, row 2. So after every row, I put my work down and I write down a piece of paper.
But you're saying that this row counter can work for crochet as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Where do I stick it? My crochet hook is so small.
Yeah, you stick it at the end of your crochet hook.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but I find it very unnecessary, and more times than not, I have actually used it once before. I've tried it on one of my friend's crochet kits that she bought on AliExpress, which I decided to take it and try, and I hate it. I find that...
Wait, how does it work? I don't get it. So it
you
just
stick
counts...
it to the end, and every time you finish a row, you just turn the number manually, and then so it's like a number counter, and you turn and it just goes 1. And after you finish row 2, you turn the number and you turn 2.
Okay.
You know those kind of date stamps that you get when you stamp on papers? Yeah, you know how you manually turn the numbers? It's kind of like that.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So I find it so useless because I will go 2-3 rows and then I realize, oh shit, I needed to count. So I need to go back and count how many rows I have and then turn the row counter to sort of match.
To match them.
To match my
because
rows.
you forgot.
Because I forget,
Okay.
It's just not... I just find it so not intuitive because for crochet, we don't stop our work after every row. After you finish your last, say for example single crochet, you chain up 2, you turn your work and you immediately do your first single crochet in the next row. Whereas for knitting, after you finish each row, you have to put your work down and swap hands.
Oh, is that what you do?
Yeah, so I feel like it's more intuitive for a knitter because every time they have to swap. So when they finish knitting, they take whatever's on the left hand to bring it over to the right hand, and whatever that's on the right hand, bring it over to the left hand physically.
Like the flip, right?
The flip, yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like it's more intuitive doing the flip to also flip a row on the row counter.
At the same time.
But for a crocheter,
because it's
your
so
tension,
smooth to transition
hand you never let go of your tension on the tension hand.
Yeah, correct.
You never let go of the hook on your hook. On your right working
it would
arm.
actually make it more tiring and more difficult for me to actually put it down and then to turn the number and to pick up my work again.
Yeah, exactly. So for that reason, I think it's so unnecessary.
Right, okay. Fair enough.
I used to try having my calculator out when I first started. So if you listen to episode 1 when we introduced ourselves, you know that I first started crocheting on YouTube, right? I'm self-taught. So in that same video, she did say, I think I tried to do a more complex pattern. So she did say like after row 5, you want to, start the repeat. So I needed to count row 1 up through to row 5. So what I did was I took out my calculator and every time I finished a row, I pressed another 1.
So clever.
I pressed 2.
So that's your digital row counter then?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how a digital row counter works. I think you just press the button and then the number pops up.
Okay, so it's just that you don't have to turn. You don't have to
Yeah,
physically
you just
turn
have
the
to
thing.
you just have to press it.
Right. Okay.
It's like an electronic thingy.
Right. Okay. So makes sense. We don't really need it.
Yeah, so I think it's very unnecessary, but if you buy a crochet toolkit, an all-encompassing crochet toolkit like we mentioned about on Taobao, AliExpress, and eBay, they will give you a row counter.
Yeah, I see it everywhere, and
Yeah.
I think I believe I asked you once before, like, how come we don't have one?
Yeah. What
You
did I
know.
say?
I think the same thing you told me it wasn't necessary. Then I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
No explanation needed, right?
So now you know why it's not necessary. I
Yeah.
just think it's one of those like things they sell you to make money,
Yeah.
to tell you need it.
Yeah.
I think that if once you get into the groove of crochet, you actually don't need a row counter because it's very intuitive.
Great. Less things for me to buy. More
And
money
it-
for me to
and
save.
they're so ugly, to be honest.
I've never seen the nice ones, yeah.
It's either that ugly red or the ugly blue. Okay, even Spotlight only carries like one kind of it.
I guess nobody needs it, so there's no there's no
Yeah.
point to develop and have nicer designs, right?
Yeah, but if you need a row counter, you know there are other ways you can substitute them that doesn't cost money. I think one row counter cost around like $4 to $6, I think, just to help you count, and you have to physically turn the dial. It's $4 or $5. I'd rather buy a ball of yarn with.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, just use your calculator. It works
Yeah.
the same way.
So the next thing you can substitute for are blocking mats and blocking pins.
Okay, you need to explain that to me because I have no idea.
Yeah, because I know that you probably have no clue what that is.
Yeah.
Okay, a blocking mat. Do you know what blocking is first?
Yeah, I mean, you block things all the time.
Yeah. So in crochet, blocking is when you can dry block or wet block. It's when you stretch out a work so that it fits the final dimensions you're supposed to reach.
Do I always have to block my projects?
Not
though?
always. Some projects lay flat naturally, so you don't have to block them. But other projects, say if you're working in a round like a mandala, then you probably need to block them because they sort of cinch together. But it's no fault of yours. It's not that you've counted it wrongly. It's just the way the yarn is. Some patterns require you to block or stretch them open.
Okay, so it's depending on the pattern and depending on the material, maybe?
Yeah, depending on the material, and it also depends on what project you're working on. All material you work with, even if it's like cotton with no stretch, after you crochet, they will always have a stretch. It will always stretch because it's loops upon loops looped together.
Then if I'm
right?
not sure, should I just block anyways? Is it safer to just do it?
If you feel that it lays fine, if you feel that it looks fine, trust your judgment, then you probably don't have to block it.
Right, okay.
Okay, other times you want to block something is if you're making like clothes, for example. So blocking it is basically you like overstretching it to mimic how it would feel after like 3 weeks of wash, for example.
So that they kind of have
Yeah,
that natural
because if
look.
it fits you perfectly now and you want to have something that's like more fitting, in 3 weeks time it's going to be really, really loose and it's going to look really like not put together.
Yeah, okay.
So
Makes
you
sense,
want to
yeah.
do things a little bit smaller and then block them, especially for clothes, if you want them to fit nicely.
Okay, so that's what a blocking mat is supposed to help you
Yeah,
with?
so now on to the blocking mat. A blocking mat is after you've blocked it, after your work is sort of soaking wet, you want to lay them on a surface and stretch it out.
Okay.
Okay, so a blocking mat is just basically a surface with pins to hold them in place so that it stretches them out.
Ah, okay. So it's just something that I put my project on top of it.
Which
Okay.
I don't feel is necessary at all. Okay, and here's why. You can get two kinds of blocking mats. One, the styrofoam kinds, and two, a nicer, more expensive wooden kind.
Wooden kind.
Yeah, so the styrofoam kind basically looks like, you know those baby play mats that jigsaw puzzle together?
The one that I can join them and
Yeah, you can easily
I
find
can
them in
expand it,
Daiso for like
right.
$2. Yeah, exactly. The kind that's got jagged edges and then you just piece them together like a puzzle. Blocking mats look exactly the same as that, and they're made from the exact material. And the pins they give you are basically just like push pins on your board, and you just push your work down and pin them
whole
down.
point it comes with the jagged edges is so that I
You can buy more pieces
to expand it. The
to
same
expand
idea.
it if you're making like a small pouch versus like a huge XL sweater.
Ah, okay.
And the pin is basically just push pins for like your bulletin board.
So
and
technically you can use any kind of pins as well.
Yeah, and that's how I feel, which is why I think it's a waste of money. But if you're talking about the wooden kind, then I can sort of see how you would want to spend some money on it. Basically, the wooden kind is just a pegboard lying down.
Oh, okay, I understand.
It's a big rectangular or square wooden piece
with holes.
Yeah, and then you get the blocking pins are just wooden dowels that you stick into the holes, and that stretches it out.
How would it not like destroy my work?
So that's not for everything. So most people use it for like say granny squares. You put it into the corner.
Okay.
So, and don't think the dowels are very big. They're not. They're quite small.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Because you said pegboard, so I'm thinking like really
yeah, but
huge
these
one.
are like tiny whole pegboard.
Yeah,
kind.
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So those are the two things which I don't think they are necessary at all. Because so what I do personally is I just find an empty table. I put some towels underneath on the table underneath my work, and then I'll just like sandwich it with like weights on top. You know my dumbbells, the one I used to work out with. I just put them on top just to hold them in place.
So they don't move and then
they don't
stretches.
move and it stretches. And then when it's dry, it's like perfect. I don't spend any money.
The towels underneath, they are like wet towels.
They'll be damp, yeah.
Okay.
My crochet work won't be soaking wet. It's just slightly damp. Because when crochet is damp, it's more malleable. And that's how you can sort of tweak the shape of it a little bit.
To put it in a shape where you want it to be. Okay.
That's right. So I think they're a real waste of money. And people who sell you blocking mats.
It looks legit. It sounds legit to me.
Yeah,
you know?
but it's cheat. They're trying to cheat you of your money. Don't buy them. Okay, just use... Or you know what? If you need to buy them, go to Daiso. Buy those sticker mats. Buy like 4 or 5. Put them together and go and buy pushboard pins.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly the same concept.
Everything under $10. Whereas if you buy them online, they're like $30.
No way.
Yeah.
For some styrofoam and some pins.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, right?
Okay.
You don't even need push boards. If you have dumbbells at home or it's like weights, it doesn't even need to be very heavy. You could put like a water bottle on it, for example, and that's good enough.
This is so odd to me because like I've never heard of blocking mats before, and only because we are doing this episode that
you
I'm
know about
trying
it.
to find out more about tools, and I'm like, blocking mats.
But you've heard of me talk about blocking before, right?
Yeah.
So
Correct.
blocking mats is just an extension of that.
So funny.
So I guess someone out there in the world decided that, people need to block in crochet. Let me make a tool and market it as such. But it's basically just baby mats or pegboards.
Okay.
And I think that sometimes we need to see the item for what it is and not like be bought into the whole marketing thing where if you block something, use a blocking mat so you don't like ruin your table, No, just get a couple of old towels or a couple of old rags.
I think that's why it's important to understand what is the purpose of this thing
Yes,
for.
that's a very good point.
First, then,
Before you spend money.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's one. That's blocking mats. Those are my strong opinions about them. Okay, so next, let's see what else we can substitute. Swatch gauge. Do you know what swatch gauge is?
I mean, we have one, so I think I've seen that before.
Yeah. So a swatch gauge is basically a big, fat, square ruler that's like maybe 12 by 12 cm.
What do you use it for?
And there's a big hole in the middle.
Okay.
Basically, all it tells you is how to measure, to count the number of stitches within that empty square.
In the hole?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that I'm gonna go into a whole episode about swatch gauge because it's quite a complex
Tool.
subject.
Oh, okay.
And the tool is just trying to help you get there. But actually, you can, if you have a ruler and you know how to count your gauge, then you actually don't need to buy a swatch gauge. It's also one of those things that, you need to swatch, let me sell you a swatch gauge. Okay, so basically you just want to measure horizontally on your work and vertically on your work and count the number of rows from left to right and count the number of rows top to bottom. Wait, let me say it again. Count the number of stitches from left to right and the number of rows from top to bottom.
Okay.
And then that number will be your gauge.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's cover this in another episode. Yeah,
I think we should do that. Yeah.
So, but just trust me on this that you don't need a swatch gauge.
Okay. We really need to go into the microfiber cloth. I need to know what that is for.
Okay, so I find it so strange that I have never seen it mentioned on any other blogger or any other crochet, channel or Instagram or something. And
Oh my
I think
gosh, I'm so curious.
I think this is just a personal hack that I've discovered, and I make it sound so glamorous, like I've discovered this, but I don't know maybe somebody else has done
Share
this before.
your secret.
Okay, so I find that a microfiber cloth helps stop my yarn and my hook from squeaking.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and I have sort of figured out why my acrylic yarn squeaks.
The first time I heard it squeak, I think I got a shock.
Yeah, it sounds like a mouse or a rat in the house.
No, I got shocked because it was surprisingly loud.
Yeah.
Yes. To think that you crocheting would make a sound like that.
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah. Okay, so you just take the cloth and like...
Okay, so having my acrylic yarn, and this only happens with acrylic yarn, I don't know why. Okay, actually I have my guesses, but I mean obviously I don't know for certain. So I hate that when I'm working with acrylic yarn and it squeaks on my work, and I find that happens a lot more with new yarn that I just get out of the shop, or when I move from an air-conditioned room to like a warmer place.
Okay. So wait, does this happen with any kind of crochet hooks that you use?
Yeah,
Or
it happens with any kind of crochet
even the
hook.
the bamboo ones.
I don't remember trying it with a bamboo one, because so far I've used the metal and the plastic ones. But I find that it happens mostly with acrylic yarn. Okay, so my take on it is that acrylic yarn has a lot of like bits, like fluff, like fiber that comes out. And this fiber, because the I almost said genetic, the breakdown, the make of it is actually like a polypolymer plastic. The micro bits of it lay on your crochet hook, and it gets pushed in between your yarn as you're working. So when you yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through, it actually rolls the fibers in the yarn, and it makes it not smooth. So have you when you have like, you wear your shoes and the floor is wet, and you rub your shoes on the floor and it makes that squeaking sound? Think of that in the exact same concept, but like micro, because it's on your crochet hook.
Okay.
And I find that when my yarn squeaks, I also have trouble pushing my hook through my work.
Like not smooth.
It's not smooth.
It's like as if there's friction.
Yeah, like there's friction. And so I find that taking my microfiber cloth and just rubbing it along the edge of my metal bit of the hook helps remove any sort of fibers and smoothens it out. And the next maybe 3 or 5 rows has no squeak.
Just the tip of your crochet hook?
Just the tip of the crochet where I'm working with, the tip and the nose. It also works when I have, when my hands get a little bit sweaty. Not very, but if I'm holding my work really close to the nose, because I find that holding it that way allows me to crochet faster. By doing that, I get the oil on my hands and sometimes the moisture on my hands onto the crochet hook, and it interacts with the acrylic, and it squeaks in my hands. It's so annoying.
So the cloth helps to remove that.
So the cloth also helps to remove any sort of moisture or oil, and it brings it back to like, not pristine condition, but it brings it back to like the starting point, so that you can crochet smoother. Okay,
so it's like a cleaning.
Yeah, it's meant to clean the crochet hook so that you get a smooth a process.
Okay, so as you're crocheting, you just use this like.
As I'm crocheting, as and when I feel that I'm starting to get stuck or it's starting to squeak, then I'll just take my microfiber cloth and just wipe. I mean, if you think about it, when was the last time you heard my crochet squeak?
I was just thinking about that, and I thought like maybe because you're not really using much acrylic, you're probably using like more cotton or something like that. And why have you not shared this hack with me?
I don't know. It's just
why?
It's not something I actually think about until we were prepping for this episode.
I can't believe you've kept this to yourself for like...
It's not something that I actively know that I'm doing. It's just... Okay, so how that started was I realised I got really frustrated at the squeak because it's so loud, honestly. I started taking my shirt to wipe on it. And then I realised, hey, you know what? I don't want to be using my shirt. Let me pull up something. And what I have is the microfiber cloth that comes with your sunglasses.
For spectacles,
For spectacles, yeah. So I use that to wipe because
it was just conveniently there, is it?
Yeah, because I wear glasses, right? Yep. So I always have 1 or 2 of this like cloth to clean my glasses lying about the place. So I just found one that I didn't use. And then I started cleaning my hooks, and then I realized that, oh my god, it works wonders. And I've just used it like this for years and not thought about it.
That it is actually a hack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not until prepping for this episode, and then I realized, oh my gosh, what is the things that I cannot live without? And that's a microfiber cloth.
Interesting.
So I hope that demystified it for you. And if any of you are listening, tell me, does your acrylic yarn squeak for you? And if it doesn't, and you also don't use a microfiber cloth, can you please share with me what is
Why
it
it
you're
doesn't
doing? Because
squeak.
I need to know whether my theory is correct.
Yeah,
You
can you
know?
imagine people are saying, huh? How come your yarn squeak?
Yeah,
Mine don't squeak.
mine
and
doesn't
has
squeak
never
at all.
squeaked before.
Yeah. And I know that it's something that happens because there are some other crochet brands out there that also talk about yarn squeaking, but they all always say, oh, that's just the properties of acrylic yarn. There's nothing really you can do about it.
can't avoid
but like,
it.
hey, no, man, I found something that you can do about it.
Yeah, try it and also let us know whether it works for you.
Yeah, let me know if it works so that, you know, I can claim credit. Okay, so anyway.
Is there any other tools on your list?
Apart from that, no, looms, which are not that necessary.
Yeah. I have a couple of tools that I saw online and I'm just wondering, I mean, it's obviously not on your list and I'm just
Okay.
wondering whether...
Oh, it's not on my list?
Yeah, it's not on your list.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering whether these tools are, like you say, just a marketing gimmick.
Okay,
or...
now I'm curious. What? Okay, wait. What? Now I'm speechless. What possibly is not on my list?
Do you know what a yarn bowl is?
Oh my gosh. Yes, okay, right.
Is that considered a crochet tool?
Yeah, yes, actually, it is. Okay.
1 point for Mel.
Okay.
So, yes or no? In your list of
Um,
things to have.
if you don't use a yarn winder, which is number 12 on our list, then you probably would need a yarn bowl, yes. Although, I cannot foresee how it would eliminate the problem of your yarn jumping around.
Uh-huh.
So basically, a yarn bowl is just a bowl with a little hole at the side that you can stick your yarn through it, and it keeps your yarn coming consistently from that same one position.
Yeah.
Most of the time, these yarn bowls are quite small. They look like a rice bowl, maybe slightly bigger than, like maybe like a soup bowl. And they're made of wood, and they're not very heavy. So if you have a very big ball of yarn,
It probably cannot work.
it probably wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Although I have recommended to some of my students before what they can use in place of a freaking $30 or $50 yarn bowl, because that's actually how much they cost.
No way.
Yeah, so the reason why Crooked Crochet doesn't carry yarn bowls is because they cost me $30 to buy at cost price.
I mean, it's just a wooden bowl,
It's
you
just a
know?
wooden bowl, yeah. But it has, I mean, I don't know what they use to carve, maybe golden tools or what. But even looking on like AliExpress or Alibaba or looking for supplies in India,
Yeah.
they all cost about 30 USD to
Okay.
buy.
So I guess you're saying that I can substitute something else for
You
this.
can. So, hello Daiso. Go to Daiso, buy a big like acrylic or plastic salad bowl. Get a couple of those like butterfly clips, clip it to the side of the bowl, and then string your yarn through the hole.
Oh my god, this is like the 1 minute craft thing.
Yeah,
you
5
know?
minute craft
Yeah.
hacks, whatever. But this is
Yeah.
like better because it's crochet.
No, okay, because I've seen how the bowl looks like, and now they are talking about the butterfly clips.
Yeah.
I can visualize how that will work.
Yeah, and so this butterfly clips, you know, the metal bit can be removed.
Yeah,
You can just remove it and take your yarn out when you want to.
so clever.
So sometimes people, especially like newer students who take my class, ask me how to organize their yarn, and they probably only have 3 or 4 or 5 balls of yarn. So I always say get a yarn bowl, put it all in, especially if you're working on like say tapestry crochet that requires 3 or 4 color changes. You can just have 3 or 4 of those butterfly clips, clip it all to the side of the bowl, 1 clip per color, and
Oh my
they all
god,
come
so
out.
it can all come out at the same time, but it doesn't get like tangled
doesn't
or
get
move
tangled, yeah.
around. Wow, so clever. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so that's something else.
Okay, that's another one.
Okay.
It's funny how you didn't mention this. I can see how it's not necessary, but I was curious about it, and so I recently actually bought one. You know what?
Recently bought one. Wait, let me think.
Something
You recently bought this
that you can put on your...
with or without my knowledge?
Of course, with your knowledge.
I know!
Would I buy something without your knowledge?
The tension ring.
There you go.
Wow, I missed it out on my list.
Yeah.
And here I am thinking my list was so comprehensive.
Mel, 2 points.
Okay. So tension ring. Usually I just crochet them a tension ring. I just make one out of yarn.
Yeah, but mine looks so pretty. It's like
Okay,
this
yeah.
metal, like nice looking thing with design on it.
Yeah, and mine's a peacock. This is also a sneak peek at the next crochet tool that we are bringing into our shop, and that is tension rings. So basically, tension rings are little rings that you wear. They're like adjustable rings with an extra little loop at the top, and you wear them over your finger, and you string your yarn through, and that sort of helps with you holding your yarn in your tension hand.
Yeah, because I have issues with working my tension. So, finding out about this ring and recently getting it and trying it out, I think it works for me.
Yeah, and also it keeps the yarn away from the palms of your hand. So hello, sweaty palm crocheters out there, this will be a lifesaver for you.
Hello, right here.
I can't believe I left it out on my list. Wow, I'm so impressed.
I know, right?
Okay, so tension ring is one of them. Which is so funny because I create tension rings for my classes.
Yeah.
And
For
I
most of
don't-
your students, right?
For most, especially the ones that are new. I mean, by the 3rd or 4th session, they say they don't have to use it anymore.
I struggle with tension the most.
Yeah. And most people will. And in fact, I do. If I'm working on a different project, for example, or like a new project, if I'm crocheting with leather pieces or wooden pieces, then even I struggle with my tension. And this would be something that every crocheter will struggle with for the rest of your life. It's just one of those things that people give up on crochet because they can't handle the tension
But
in the tension hand.
for you, it gets easier and better. And,
Definitely. It
right?
definitely gets easier. It's not something you would ever really master. Let me think.
Really?
Is that true? Okay. I think...
You want to
it's
take it
not
back?
something that you can master, but you can find what works for you.
Right, something that you're comfortable with.
Yeah. And so not everybody would hold their tension the same way.
Yeah, but for me, tension ring, it works.
Yeah. So what I've done in the past is to find my softest yarn, and the one that I have is actually rayon and silk and a little cotton, rayon, silk, and something else I don't remember. And I crochet maybe like I chain 10 or like 15 to go around my finger, and I join it to form a ring, and then I just crochet a few rings, a few rows up, so that it looks like a fabric ring, and I just slide it into my finger. And that's all I do.
Smart. Another way to not really spend so much money on it as well.
Yeah, and you can crochet make yourself as many tension rings as you like, one for each project, it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
So yes, something that you should have in your toolbox.
You don't need to have it, but if you do want it or feel like you want to try it, you don't have to go out and spend money for it.
But you do agree that it's, a good accessory, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
It
Not
definitely
just
would.
because it looks pretty.
it helps, right? It would make your crocheting life easier.
It wouldn't. Not necessarily, because to me, having a tension ring actually like
Hinders you more.
it hinders me more, and
Yeah.
I freeze because I feel like it messes with my brain a little bit. I'm just because I'm not holding the yarn in my hand the way I'm used to.
Yeah.
So I feel a little bit handicapped with the tension ring. But if you want to try it works for you, don't spend money to buy one. Just crochet one yourself. And if you feel like it works and you want something sturdier, then you can buy a metal one. But you should wait until we bring it into our shop, because the one I'm going to bring in for the ladies has got like jewelry stuff.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll be like looking forward to that.
Yeah. Okay.
Bejeweled.
Okay, so let's talk about my top 5 and my bottom 5
Okay.
crochet tools. Oh wait, sorry. Is there anything else on your list?
I do have one, but it's like an odd thing.
Okay,
that
no,
I don't
tell me.
understand.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
A crochet hook with light.
Oh,
I don't understand. I'm like, I thought it was a joke.
No, actually, I wanted to buy one of them for myself.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because
Why? What for? You don't crochet in the dark, do you?
no, it's
Wait,
for
you
black
know.
yarn.
Oh. Okay.
It's for when you're working with black. So
Because
recently,
you cannot see.
because you can't see the individual stitches, especially if you're working with like furrier yarn or yarn.
I really thought it was just like cool, got light, it lights up,
No.
like for fun. Shit.
So lighted crochet hooks have been on my mind recently because I'm currently working on 2 crochet projects that are entirely black. One is a crochet top for myself, like a summer top that's entirely in black. Another one is I'm working on the trim for my dress. It is a little bit too short, so I am crocheting some like lace trim at the bottom of my dress to lengthen it and also add some design. And it's a black dress, so it's black, yeah. So it's, and I find that
How come you don't own one like
because I don't
crochet
think it's
hook?
necessary. I have all these lights. It's just that if I'm gonna sit on the sofa, which our living
bright
room
enough.
doesn't have that, is not as bright as I want it to be, I can use a crochet lighted hook.
Okay, now suddenly it makes sense. I honestly thought it was like totally like a
joke.
gimmick. Yeah.
But
And how does it work? Is it like
yeah, there's a battery in it at the end.
Oh my goodness.
It's like those
okay.
tiny mini batteries.
Okay.
And then you put it in and it probably lasts for like, I don't know, like a year, 2 years, and you change your battery after.
Wow. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna get you one, okay?
No, but the thing is, I've never tried it. And I actually, now that I'm done with my project, I feel like if I were to buy one, it would be so useless. Because firstly, it has to have some sort of mechanism in it. Some electric some wire.
correct.
And so to keep the weight light, it would probably be made out of plastic. And you can't have a clear metal hook.
No, of course not. Yeah.
So I don't like, personally, I don't like plastic hooks. So I think that
You would probably struggle a lot more with the,
I think I
the
would
hook
hate
itself.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
And all that I've seen, all the lighted crochet hooks I've seen are very ugly. You're not gonna buy me an ugly crochet hook, are
That's
you?
why I thought it was a gimmick. I thought it was a toy.
No.
Like for fun. Like, hey, look at my lighter crochet hook. For fun.
Because I've never used it, I feel very reluctant to pass judgment on it.
Yeah.
Apart from the fact that it looks ugly. But
But
I mean,
maybe
if it's functional, it's functional.
Exactly, if it
So,
really works.
If any of you have tried, can you please let me know also? This episode, I need a lot of you guys' feedback and opinion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me know if it works for you, because personally, I can't say for absolute certain that it would actually make my life easier, like the tension ring.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. It works for you, doesn't work for some people. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go top 5 and bottom 5.
Okay.
You want to do top first or bottom first?
Top first.
Okay, let's do top 5. Number 1, crochet hooks. You can never get enough crochet hooks. I don't have enough crochet hooks, and I probably have like 100.
Too much.
Number 2, darning needles, because I feel like you can crochet with any material, not just yarn, but you can't not use a crochet hook, so that's number 1. And darning needles, there's really no other needle like that in the market for you to use that is fatter, a blunt, and like a bigger eyelet
Yeah.
to put your fat yarn through.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's there to be used for that purpose.
Yeah, so for that reason, I feel like because there's no substitute, it makes it one of those like top essential thing. Any list you look into, anyone, I'm sure they will agree that darning needles is probably like the number 1 or number 2 on the list.
Yeah, like a must-have.
Yeah, a must have. Okay, number 3 is a notebook and pen. I mean, if you are not like someone who likes to write things down, if you prefer to do it on the computer and type it out, go ahead and type it out. I have been trying to go digital so that I don't waste so much paper, but it's so important in your crochet life to write down things as you go along, because it helps you be a better crocheter. It helps you keep track of your work. There are lots of times where I put down my project and I come back the next day or even that same day at night, and I forgot which crochet hook I used.
Yeah, correct, all the time, yeah.
Yeah, and I forget, like what's my starting chain.
I
I forget for this pattern, for example, what it is. And while you can easily Google it, like for example, basket weave, if you want to know what's the starting chain in what multiples of like what you need for like a basket weave stitch pattern, you can easily Google it. But what if you don't have access to it? And the more because I feel like the more you Google it, the easier you feel like this information you can get them.
Yeah.
The less you remember it.
Yeah.
And I feel like writing it down manually also helps you remember.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah.
it's like a
Yeah.
kill two birds with
Yeah,
one stone.
that's what I use my notebook for. Mostly is to write down the stitches and write it in my own way that I understand it.
Yeah, and in fact that's
That
the
makes it
number one
easier
thing
for
I
me.
tell my students to when they say, what do I need to bring? Nothing, just bring a notebook.
Yeah.
Because you will be writing down notes like non-stop in your crochet life. It's very...
There's just so many things that you sort of need to remember and need to watch out for when you're crocheting.
Yeah,
so
and I'm assuming if you crochet, then you are a visual learner also.
Yeah.
Right? So as a visual learner, it's good to write things down because if you have a notebook, then you can sketch it out too.
Yeah.
If you need to
write
remember
the
certain
patterns
things,
and
yeah,
like,
correct.
draw it out. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I think a notebook is like a top 5 essential. Okay, number 4 will be scissors, of course. Embroidery scissors only, for me.
Preferably.
I mean, preferably, but only. And last is a microfiber cloth.
That should be like first.
That
Microfiber
should be
cloth,
first, yeah.
crochet hook, and then, go down the list.
So if my crochet studio was on fire, touch wood. If it was on fire,
touch wood.
I would grab these 5 things. Crochet hooks, darning needles, my notebook, my scissors, and all of microfiber cloth that I can grab. If all else fails, I'll crochet with the microfiber cloth. Okay, so that's my top 5. Do you have a top favorite?
No, not really.
Are you gonna add microfiber cloth to your top favorites now?
Yeah, for sure. Now. Yeah,
So
I need to go and find one.
Now we need to look for one for you.
Yeah.
Okay, now that we've finished top 5, how about the bottom 5?
Okay, so these are things that we totally don't need at all.
These are things that I think if you need to save a few bucks, these are the first few things that can go.
Okay.
Okay, number 1, a row counter. They are so... I don't want to say so useless, but as a crocheter, you don't really need them, and there are so many other ways you can count, like we've mentioned. So number 1, don't spend your money on a row counter.
Don't.
Number 2, a swatch gauge. Just use a ruler and learn to do it the right way.
Okay.
Which, stay tuned for the next episode, or one of the next few episodes where we will cover swatch gauge.
Okay.
Number 3, blocking mats.
Yeah.
Don't buy
This is
blocking
ridiculous.
mats. Yeah, just go to Daiso if you really need to. Or just use an old towel. I feel like... And this is where it sort of touches... I have strong opinions about because it touches a very sensitive topic. Or a topic that I feel is very near and dear to me, which is sustainability.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't feel like your craft should be causing more harm to the environment.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not talk about the amount of waste it generates to create yarn, but I feel like in general, if more people were to crochet, actually we would reduce the carbon footprint a lot more because you're not wasting money taking the yarn to bring into another factory to create more things for you. If you need like a knitted sweater, you can just buy the yarn and skip out the whole, knitting
the whole
factory.
in between process
Yeah,
of manufacturing and all that.
Yeah, and it eliminates fast fashion a lot more because if you can knit and you can crochet, you can create things that would be more will be of higher quality and it will mean more to you because you made them, and so you're more likely to take care of it.
So overall, it's just to reduce consumerism, right?
Yeah, and also to like reduce our carbon footprint a little bit. There are very little things that I actually buy nowadays that I need for my house.
Because we just crochet
because
everything.
we just crochet all.
No,
and
honestly, really, that's all we do. We really crochet everything.
Recently I crocheted like a curtain holder. So instead of like the straps used to hold the curtains up, I just crocheted them.
Yeah. We have like bunch of like baskets all around to put my keys. We recently crocheted the coaster.
A little basket for my
the coasters, yeah.
For my wooden coasters. And if you really don't want to buy yarn, you can just shred old clothes, old t-shirt into strips. You can just easily YouTube them how to turn old t-shirts into yarn or how to cut t-shirts into strips of yarn. And then, crochet with that. You need a floor mat, use one of your old mats, crochet something together, and there you have it.
Boom, floor mat.
Okay, so next, did I cover blocking mats? Yes. Hook organizers.
Okay.
Or any sort of organizer in general. I think
don't need them.
You don't need them. I think if you want to save a couple bucks, those are the first few things you don't buy, which is an organizer. You don't need a hook organizer. It looks pretty, yes, but if you really need your like 3mm crochet hook in like the pile that you have, just sort them out and look for it nicely.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess that works.
You can take any old pencil case or any even the old water bottle, dry them out, You can slot your crochet hooks in
Your
the
crochet
water
hooks
bottle.
inside? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many, anything that can hold something, you can put your hooks in them.
Okay, yeah,
You
fair
can
enough.
take like a old cup, you know, and put, you know, your crochet hooks in like a holder. You have more than one cup? Yeah, great. Then use one for like the ergonomics, or use one for one size,
Yeah.
you know?
I think it's just the idea that the organizer is just a replacement of like any other thing that you can use to hold your tools.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, if you need like for the smaller items, just get. Oh, you know what was really great? A sunglasses case is really good for putting your hooks and your tools in as well.
I always have too many sunglasses case.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
that's
true.
perfect. You know, the free ones they give you,
Yeah.
just use that, put your tools in it. It's like
Okay.
sturdy, it keeps it in place.
Yeah.
You know, if it's
And
like,
it's small, portable.
yeah, it's small and portable, easy to keep. Yeah, so organizers would be the first thing that you don't buy. And finally would be a yarn winder.
I
You
like
don't
the
need-
yarn winder though.
Yeah, we like it because it makes life a lot easier, but this is just, you know, us being lazy. If you don't own a crochet business, which most people don't,
Okay.
if you don't have like 2,576 balls of yarn, you don't need a yarn winder. You know, just keep old toilet roll holders, like the middle cardboard piece, or if you have a bit of a chunkier yarn, then you know those kitchen roll holders, or you can roll up a piece of scrap paper,
And just
tape it down into a roll, and just like wind your yarn around that.
okay.
That works too. You know, it's not something you specifically need to spend your money on because some of them can be really expensive.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Which, speaking of, I saw this wooden one that's going for like 120.
Yeah, but it's so nice.
But it's so nice. It's so heavy duty. It's humongous. It's like, I don't know, it's probably like 60, 70 cm long.
Yeah, it was probably. I mean, it's probably handmade.
It's like a
so-
really heavy duty wooden handmade one that is meant to sit on an actual tabletop itself.
Yeah, clamp it down, right? Yeah.
Clamp it down with heavy duty clamps. It's like 40 cm deep and like 70 cm wide. It's
Yeah.
humongous.
Okay, fair enough. If I don't have that many balls of yarn, I just buy 1 or 2 or 3 and I'm just crocheting with the ball. I don't need a yarn winder.
Yeah, you don't need that. And yeah, because you can wind it up by hand.
Yeah.
And there are so many videos on YouTube that would teach you and show you how to wind yarn by hand so that it looks like a nice ball of yarn. It's just whether you're willing to take the time to do it, which
Yeah.
I am not. So I have a yarn winder. But if you're trying to save a few bucks, you don't need a yarn
Yeah.
winder.
And plus, it's really not that cheap, so.
It's cheaper now. You can buy one for like 15, under 20 bucks. But in the past, when we were looking for it, I think they were close to like the $30, $40. I don't know why there was a drop in the price suddenly, but it used to be really, really expensive.
Everybody's into yarn now.
Yeah, everybody's into crochet,
Into crochet,
now.
yeah, which you should be.
So, okay, yeah, so those are my bottom few
Okay.
and my top few. Did we miss out anything?
I don't think so. I mean, we talk about crochet hooks with light, so I think we covered like everything.
Oh, okay, just as I said that, there's one more thing I know that we missed out.
What?
A yarn swift.
What's that?
A yarn swift is like the yarn umbrella that we use
okay.
to wind a skein into a
Right.
ball.
Okay, but I mean, not most people will need something like
so,
that,
okay,
right?
so let's quickly touch on a yarn swift because this podcast is getting a lot longer than we thought it would be. A yarn swift is basically if you were to buy a skein of yarn or a hank of yarn that is not wound up and is in the big loop. Okay, you can check out episode 3 all about yarn if you want to know what that is. But if you buy a skein or a hank and you need to unwind it, then you probably need a yarn swift. But with that said, most places that sell yarn in skein like us also sell the service where you can wind it up, where they
Okay,
can wind it up.
Then
for
now
them.
I have a question.
Yes.
If I don't have, what do you call that thing
Yarn
again?
Swift?
Yarn Swift. And then I
I
have,
like to call it Taylor Swift.
if I don't have Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
and then I buy
A skein,
skein, then how do I work with that? Wouldn't it all tangle as I'm
You
trying
can
to use
use
it?
you can use another person's arm to help you slot it through their hands, and they can sort of hold it apart while you wind it into a ball in your hands. Or
okay.
you could drape it on the back of the chair. You know what? You can
okay.
YouTube this how to wind a skein into a ball without a yarn swift.
Okay.
Search that.
Got it. Yeah, because I would think that the moment I untangle my skein, it's just gonna like
come apart,
like,
and
go
actually
haywire
it does.
in my,
It does.
in my
It does.
hands. Yeah.
If you're not careful, it will. Just the act of you pulling the skein apart, sometimes you can split the yarn
Yeah.
and it would just tangle
Exactly.
like nothing.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so yeah, with that, I think we actually have covered everything. If we have missed out anything, let us know. And also, go over to our Instagram now and let me know 2 things. Does your yarn squeak? And does a lighted crochet hook work for you? Because
Yeah.
I really, really, really want to know.
I need to know.
And how many of you use microfiber cloth? So go over to our Instagram, let us know. You can find us at Crooked Crochet SG, or go to our website so you can buy our yarn and tools at www.crookedcrochet.com. Or if you have questions, you can WhatsApp me. We mentioned this in the last episode, and that you can WhatsApp me at 912727.
4-3.
Perfect. Well, this has been a long episode.
Yeah, but I think it was a fun episode. I enjoyed it. Learned a lot of
Yeah,
things.
I hope that this has demystified the world of crochet tools for you, because honestly, we want to save a few dollars
Yeah, I mean, there's
so that I
really
can
no
buy
need.
more yarn.
Oh my goodness. You gotta stop with the buy more yarn.
Okay, so we will see you in our next episode next week. New episodes come out every Sunday at 12 noon, and you can find us now on Spotify.
Yes.
Okay, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.